Hey there, DevCentral community. My name is Boo, one of your community evangelists on the DevCentral team. Really excited to be chatting with you today. I will bring on one of my co-hosts, another community evangelist, in just a moment. But a couple things. First of all, if you're in North America, you just came off of a long weekend. So happy 4th of July or happy Canada Day. If you're celebrating either one of those. For those of you who are international, just love that you're joining us today. And I'll also bring up, because we're going international or talking about international, I got this shirt and I want to give a shout out to Martin Wooding, who is our director of professional services over in F5's APCJ region. And so he got me this Year of the Tiger shirt, which I really appreciate. And so just wanted to give him a quick shout out for that. We got a lot of stuff to go over today. And one of the things that I want to point out to folks is that if you're not already a part of this group, we have a group on our community platform, which is at community.f5.com. You head over there, and over on there, we've got these groups. And one of the groups is our DevCentral Connects group. And so if you pop into that, first of all, you just have to hit join. So as long as you're signed into the DevCentral platform, if you already own some F5 products, you probably have a login that's going to work. If not, it's a free login to get into this. Maybe you don't want to connect your work account with your DevCentral account. That's totally fine. You head over, you just request access to the group, you get granted access immediately. And inside of there, we have notes about each show, and I'm starting to post. You'll see that the person that's running the show posts about what the show is going to entail. We have a link to the show on there, but we also have links on what we're going to talk about today. So we'd love for folks to participate in these discussions, and you can read ahead of time what we're going to chat about if we can get through all those things, and some notes about who we might be chatting with during the show as well. So I just want to highlight that. If you want to get ahead of things and see what we're chatting about, and then you can add to the conversation. This is a community. It's not meant to be completely one way. We're trying to chat with everybody on there. So that's a way to get a bit of insight into what we're going to be chatting about. But I digress. I also wanted to talk about our professional services organization within F5. And as part of that, I noticed that if you go to f5.com/careers and you do a filter for global services, which is our professional services organization, among a few other things as well, there's 115 job openings right now that we have just with our global services organization. So I wanted to highlight that. Let me blow this up a little bit here. So we've got positions that are open everywhere as well. You'll see some of these, some of these are in India. We have Tokyo on here, and we have a number of ones that if they say field and then they have two letters behind there, if you're international, this actually means a state in the United States. And many of these, like if they're consulting positions, they might just be home to a country, but you don't necessarily have to be in a certain city. It's remote friendly. Some of these are not remote friendly, but a lot of them are. So I just want to highlight that. Here we got one in Canada, Seattle. And so really great. If you want to take a moment to, if this is up your alley, if you're into F5 and want to get deep into the product and you're passionate about helping customers, helping people get their environments up and running, then I encourage you to check out all of these positions that we have open here. We got a ton of them. So 115 that we got to fill. If you have any questions about that, we can connect you with somebody who is who might know more information about those positions. So just let us know about that. Otherwise, let me go ahead and I'm going to bring on our co-host in a second here, but in the meantime, I'm just going to roll a little bit of a transition, and I will see you in just a moment.
Hey there, Aubrey here with DevCentral at F5, and in an effort to change things up a little bit and focus on the positivity, we don't want to hear a gripe. We want to know what you are a force for, not what you're against, but what you are a force for out there in the world. So, just to give you an example.
So, is password 123 a good password?
No, obviously.
Why not?
Well, it's an easy guess. It's a very guessable password.
Okay, so quick question. Would it be easy for someone to sneak into or out of this house?
Nope, it would not.
Why?
Because we have cameras.
Am a force
Come on, man. Just open the...
for security. Let us know what you're a force for.
Hey there,
I
Jason.
love
How's
that.
it going? Yeah,
It's going well.
good.
Yeah, it's going well. Two
Awesome.
things. I love your shirt. I want one. And
I know who you can
uh,
contact.
yeah. And also on the jobs, if you happen to apply for them and you can't think of any name to give for the referral, you can gladly put my name down. And
Yeah, that's true. Everyone is coming through Jason Rom. He's our funnel for referrals. Maybe we'll rotate those. Jason, before we get chatting here, I just wanted to highlight a couple of things. First of all, we have anonymous LinkedIn user. So I think there's some permission stuff that you have to enable on LinkedIn, and then your name will show up on there. So I just wanted to highlight that if you are commenting on there. But we'd love to hear from everybody, and there's other folks that are commenting as well. So Martin, hello, and thank you for commenting today. Also, if you want to comment from what city you're from, we'd love to hear from you on that. Alexis, hey, how you doing? And we've got Josh. Caught one live. Good to see you all. Josh, one of our MVPs, actually. So thanks for joining us live. And then Chris pointing out Jason's grifting.
putting up I'm missing some. I must be missing some comments. Mine aren't showing up like yours are today. Interesting.
Sometimes,
I know that happens to
yeah.
both of us sometimes. Like they'll show up for me and not for you. But yeah.
It does happen. I got you though today.
LinkedIn
Yeah.
representing today. We got a lot of stuff from LinkedIn, and the LinkedIn user there is Rahul.
Rahul? Okay. Hey, Rahul. Thanks for commenting today. Awesome. And if that is you, Rahul, Pune, India. Cool. I don't know how close that is to Hyderabad, but we've got our office out there, and we've got a number of open positions there. I'll also highlight there's a couple of software development engineer positions open with F5 right now that are directly working with our community platform manager, Leif Zimmerman. And so if you are, check out Leif on LinkedIn. He put a post up about this, but if any of those fit your skill set, would love to hear from you. And that person works directly with Leif on improving our community platform. So it's great work to be a part of.
And great to work with Leif. He's awesome.
Absolutely. So, Jason, I wanted to ask you a question of the day today. And today I'm going to ask you, what is the last movie that you saw in the movie theaters physically?
Wow. Gosh, you asked me that. Gave me a little bit of warning before the show, and I've been thinking about that. And honestly, I could not remember. It might have been not the last Spider-Man movie, but the one before that.
Okay.
I don't know which one came first, the Into the Spider-Verse or the is it Far From Home? Was that the one with Mysterio?
Wow. We might need Leif to chime in on this.
Yeah, Leif or Aubrey. Which one came out
Right.
like later, Into the Spider-Verse or Far From Home? But I don't really go to the movie theater much because my experience in my house is honestly not much of a downgrade. So, I'm comfortable in my own house, can make my own popcorn for about 1/10 of the cost of what I pay for it in the movie theater. So,
Yeah.
that'd probably be, a Spider-Man movie probably.
Leif saved us on that one, Far From Home.
Oh, there you go. So probably that one. What about you?
So I actually just this weekend saw the new Top Gun in the movie theaters, and I would recommend that one is one that you probably want to get out of the house for if possible. I didn't go see it in IMAX, but I've heard the IMAX version of that is pretty cool. So maybe I'll get to see it again in IMAX.
I do want to see that movie in the theater. I haven't had a whole lot of opportunity to get there, but maybe before it leaves the theater, I'll make it. But I do like my childhood. That was like one of the formative movies. That one, and of course, Iron Eagle made me want to be a fighter pilot in one of the U.S. military branches that would have me before my eyes went bad and I had no shot at being a fighter pilot. So
I posted on my Instagram page. Folks are feel free to follow me even on Instagram if you want to. But posting about I'm going to apply to be a fighter pilot after watching that movie as well.
there you go.
Yeah, I'm wondering
I
how many.
I don't know how old you are, but you might just be slightly past the fighter pilot age.
Pretty. Yeah. I don't think they're going to tolerate me in there. One more shout out that we should give here as well. We got Sambaji from Pune, India as well. So that's awesome. Thanks for joining us today.
There you go, and bringing it back to our technology in the round robin load balancing method. So kudos to that.
You can use to say any name of movie in the last 2 years.
That's right. Just throw it out there.
Yeah, that's a good call. Aubrey, Boo is in the danger zone. Absolutely. I don't know how long I would last in those high pressure situations. Actually, I would probably not get very far through school on that one. So moving right along, though, we've got a couple things to bring up. Actually, I brought up this tab already here and talked about where to find the articles that we're talking about. They're all listed on the show threads. You just go and join the DevCentral Connects group. And so first article I'm going to bring up today is our military focus. British Army Twitter and YouTube accounts were compromised to promote crypto scams, which is pretty amazing that they were compromised. And I got another article that will talk a little bit more about this, but you gotta imagine that, hey, maybe you have two-factor authentication enabled for that. I would hope. Like how would somebody get into that? And then, you know, their ultimate goal in getting into that was promoting NFTs for this. So that's an unfortunate situation for someone as notable as the British Army.
No kidding. Well, that kind of mirrors what was it a few years ago where that happened on Twitter with a lot of high-ranking, U.S. government people and celebrities were hacked in that way to promote crypto.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true.
That one ended up being an insider job, though, right?
Yes, actually, I believe so. Someone
or a backdoor anyway. It wasn't an insider, but it was a backdoor through an insider.
Yeah, they had access that way. And maybe this was similar as well. So maybe I'll ping pong it to you, Jason. I do have the tabs up if you want to let me know which article you want to bring up.
Okay, yeah, let's do the new breakthrough, turning windows into active solar panels.
Alrighty.
So I'm always looking at, I'm not anti new technology. Like I'm not like, we must be on fossil fuel forever, but I am a pragmatist in that, we can't just throw out what we've always used because we have new things, because of cost, because of, impact to the environment, over the life cycle of a thing, how we recycle these things or can't recycle these things, the mining aspects of all this. And with solar panels, it's like, okay, I love it that we can collect solar because we get that every day for, 8 to 14 hours, depending on where you live. And so being able to harness that is awesome. But, there are, aesthetic issues and technology issues and all that. But this is pretty interesting to me in that, you could have like, your bathroom windows where you want them kind of, fogged anyway, or your, over your front door windows or your high living room windows where you don't want to put shades over them, but you still want light to come through and all that. And they have new breakthroughs here allowing you to have active solar panels in the windows that you can, at least get light through, but also be able to see through in some capacity. They'd be not quite opaque, but they'd be translucent enough to, be a functional window, which I think is pretty cool. And I think that eventually we might see something like that more common in a residential atmosphere.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool to have. I don't know how useful it will be in the Pacific Northwest. I don't know if you were watching our weather here, but not not too exciting of a summer that we're having out in Seattle and British Columbia, or at least the lower mainland of British Columbia area right now.
Yeah, maybe not everywhere. In my area, it would be pretty effective here. We get lots of sun here.
Yeah.
But I want to highlight another comment here. Josh is like, honorable mention to Days of Thunder, making me want to be a race car driver. Yes, that was it's Top Gun for the racetrack, and introduction to the mainstream for I guess I forget her name, but he married her, kind of coming out of the making of that, or was it the Far and Away? I don't remember which one they met on, but that's Days of Thunder was I enjoyed that movie. It was like one of those campy summer popcorn movies.
I got to revisit that one. We did watch the original Top Gun with the kids. Fast forwarded one of the scenes in the movie, but watched that with the kids last night and gave them an idea of what, because I actually went to Top Gun with my wife for a little bit of a date night, so the kids didn't actually see the new one yet, but they might pretty soon.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah. The original one had a pretty steamy scene, if I recall that.
Things were different back then. I guess, that kind of stuff happens again, but had to put earmuffs on the kids or sunglasses on the kids. I don't know.
That's right.
Okay. Next article that I want to bring up here is using deepfake videos. And I think we may have discussed this before. This is specifically using deepfake videos to interview for remote work. And so think about this, like social engineering to the nth degree now. Like, we already know that people can social engineer their way into a building, pretend you're an HVAC person or, communications contractor or something like that, and gain access to a building. Well, you could be a full-on employee getting through interviews. And because people are doing remote work and not necessarily meeting their manager in person right away, like me personally, I only just met Tony, our boss, 2 weeks ago, and have been interacting with him this entire time without being in person. So it opens up the possibility for a lot of frightening scenarios here when you can deepfake somebody online.
So I guess eventually you have to do the work, right? So I'm wondering how that translates to gainful employment, not just getting in the door. It's like, are you just like, maybe you're setting up hey, you get this job, I'll take 40% off the top, and
Right.
in fact, maybe on the back end, it's a fairly lucrative business model. For someone, It's like effectively, I worked for a contract organization, early career, and benefits and all that I know come out of that. But I think he was charging the company $170 an hour for me to be there, but I was only making $48 an hour at that time, and so I was like, well, wait a minute. So he's making a lot of money to not actually be doing the work. And then times like, I think he had like 70 employees, so he was doing pretty well. So maybe maybe similar situation here. You build out yourself a nice little business model that could be great.
That's totally true.
Terribly unethical, but
That's true. Although, I mean, if we're talking about software developers right now, somebody that wants to even through a scam pay for a software developer to be on the back end of things for you right now, you're going to have to start off with some good money before you execute your whatever deeds that you want to execute with your insider access.
Yeah, Chris had a good point here. Wrong one. Sounds like they just want a good job to get access so they can exploit. So yeah, just I didn't even think about that from the security aspect. You just want to get access to get a reconnaissance and then get out of there. That's a good point.
Yeah, totally true. And there was one on there as well. So what was Josh saying? Could be like the person that was outsourcing their own job to China. I believe it was found out due to subcontractors' IP. That's awesome. Yeah, a lot of possibilities with that one. Very cool. Okay, so moving right along, we are I think that's it for news articles that we'll bring up today. And so I'll just remind everyone, if you head over into DevCentral or community.f5.com, head over to groups, and you'll see the DevCentral Connects groups. There's a bunch of other articles that I did want to chat about today that we won't get to, I guess. And so let's chat about those inside of the show thread. This is the group on the community platform where Jason, where Peter and Aubrey and myself all hang out. We hang out in other parts of the community platform as well, but we keep an eye on that one because that's our group. And so please would love to hear from folks and see your comments on threads about these articles. So having said that, I did have an article that was about Facebook or Meta and their wallet system, which they are refactoring, and maybe that'll fit into the metaverse. But the conversation that I wanted to highlight for folks today is one that I had with someone named Albert Boo, and he is the CEO and founder of a company called Neutron Pay, which is a Lightning service provider, a Lightning Network service provider. So Lightning Network is, and I'll let him explain it, but this is going to allow for another form of a payment system where we might not see, in countries where we might not see banks as prevalent as they are in North America. We rely heavily and we're based on this banking system here, but in other countries like Vietnam or other countries around the world, they don't really have a lot of reliance on their banking system. So I thought it was an interesting conversation. It sits on top of Bitcoin. And so, we've had some conversations around crypto and stuff like that, and I think that fits into it. So I'm going to go ahead and roll that. This is just a teaser. The full version of this conversation is on our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/DevCentral. So you can watch it all there. But otherwise, check out this little bit of a teaser here. Today, I am joined by Albert Boo. He is the CEO of Neutron Pay, and we're going to be talking about Lightning Network today. Albert, now, I love your name because in my life, I've only met one other Boo, and that's you with your last name. So when we first met, it was great to see another Boo out there after going through my entire life without seeing too many of them. But maybe I'll give you a second to give a little bit of a background on yourself and how you got to this point of working on Neutron Pay.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Boo. Yeah, same goes for you too, right? Like, it's been a while that I found someone that has the same exact last name as me, or using the name as me. So my journey kind of started with, my background's in computer engineering. I've been in fintech pretty much all my whole life. And the kind of journey started for me in 2013. I was at a fintech company, and we were doing, obviously just kind of builds. And I had a teammate that was working with me, came up to me and showed me this white paper, just like everyone else in Bitcoin. And I kind of looked at it, scoffed at it, and then I just said, this won't work. And I threw it aside, came back to it after about 6 months. The light bulb kind of came up in my head and started reading on it. And then went into the rabbit hole for 6 to 8 months reading on it in 2013. And then after that, kind of opened up a couple businesses along the way. So had the second and third two-way ATMs in the world into Vancouver. We got beat out by a competitor of ours, ran that for about 2 years, and then we sold that. Then started a mining operation in 2016 and ran that for about 2 years, and we were mining anything from Ethereum, Litecoin, Monero, Ethereum Classic at the time, and then sold that to a competitor as well. And then when Lightning came out in 2016, followed that really closely. And then, long story short, kind of just started Neutron Pay from there. Just found out that the Lightning Network was something that we needed on the Bitcoin network, which was like a scalable solution. The layer one solution was, people say it was a bit slow, but it'd be a 10-minute transaction if I wanted to send you something. And so the Bitcoin Lightning Network allows you to now have instant transactions. And so building around that was kind of very similar to what my background was already was in fintech. And so moving that together, fintech and Lightning together, just made sense. And so now what we do is and Neutron Pay, we're an infrastructure company, but we're based and focused on payments and transfers.
Awesome. All right. So that's a great overview, but we're going to dig into that a little bit more. We're titling this discussion, What is Lightning Network? And maybe we should start there. You've touched on it a little bit at this point. And there's a lot of discussions that we've had on our show around crypto at this point. We've been talking about different sectors of it, and it just feels like there's so many aspects that you can apply crypto into things that you're doing. And you're specifically focused on the fintech and the transaction side of things, and this Lightning Network, when you brought it up with me, sounded really interesting. So let's take a few minutes here to kind of deep dive really into what is Lightning Network and what does it solve for people?
Yeah, sure. So Lightning Network is a layer 2 solution that sits on top of Bitcoin. And so what it provides is what people would call off-chain transactions. And so when you look at Bitcoin on the first layer, it uses something that's called proof of work. And proof of work happens every 10 minutes, meaning that a block is secured on the network, and that consists of a certain amount of transactions, right? And so that's layer 1. And that's been running ever since 2009. And so the Lightning Network sits on top of that to solve the scalability issue that the first layer couldn't do for being a global payments, right? And so Lightning Network allows us to now have instant payments and settlement on the Lightning Network using off-chain transactions. And so what that means is we are still using the first layer of Bitcoin as a security mechanism while having a separate ledger on top of the second layer, allowing us to have instant transactions back and forth. So now we're able to send Bitcoin. If I was I'm in Vietnam right now, and if I wanted to send you some Bitcoin in Canada, you can now receive that instantly instead of having to wait 10 minutes.
So this is really servicing like people who want to make smaller transactions or bigger transactions. Like, what kind of use cases are you seeing here?
Yeah, so there's a lot of use cases. A lot of it is microtransactions that we couldn't do necessarily online today, right? So if we wanted to do something in small microtransactions like a penny or fractions of a penny, we can't do that today with credit cards, right? With Bitcoin, we can, because it's more of what they like to call is programmable money. So it allows us to shoot smaller transaction sizes. Like we can do fractions of a penny. We can stream actually some stats over to you. So like in this podcast or this video, we could have a tool or service that allows us to accept donations while people are watching. And so that could be streamed through the Lightning Network. And so that kind of the use case for that too, as well as perfect example is like streamers or anyone else that's kind of hosting anything. If a person wanted to do a smaller transaction size, because if we're looking more at like North America, right? Not everyone's going to have like a dollar that they can do, right? So going to the context of like say third world countries, maybe if they want to do 10 cents, 5 cents, they can now do that with the Lightning Network. That allows them to donate or transact with a streamer or someone that they like online.
And is it always going to be like online type use cases, like the folks who might want to do, like over in North America, we have things like Venmo or like peer-to-peer transactions like that, like just the ability to say, hey, you're out for dinner with some friends and your friend picks up the bill, and so you need to get some money over to your friend. You service that kind of stuff.
Yeah, actually, it's kind of funny. What the Lightning Network is really good at that people kind of miss is it's an actual payment rail technology, right? Aside from Bitcoin, of everyone looking at the price and saying, oh, when it goes up and down, that's what they really look at it as, and it's a trading thing. But the actual technology itself is a payment rail, right? So the beautiful thing about Lightning Network is that it's interoperable. So meaning that anyone can join the network, and anyone that's on the network can pay each other. So what that means is it's the first time in the world that if, say, for example, Neutron Pay has Lightning, and another company, for example, Cash App, has now Lightning. It's the first time ever that an app and another app can communicate with each other. So I can go and send a payment over to a Cash App user, and a Cash App user can send a payment over to me over the Lightning Network. There's no other network today that can do that. Obviously, there's other blockchains that do it, but if we're just focused on the Lightning Network, that allows us now to send it to anyone else or any other network that wants to be on the Lightning Network. So we don't have to necessarily use Bitcoin as the means of value. We can. That's the native, I would say, currency on it. But you can put currencies on top of it, right? So you're making now Bitcoin the settlement layer for when a payment gets shot over, the Bitcoin actually is the one that's settling the amount, which now can be liquidated instantly for whatever currency it is that person's receiving.
That's a really interesting point. So with Bitcoin being the layer one piece of this and how the payments are settled, this kind of bolsters use cases for, when people say Bitcoin could drop to zero, it's not really going to when you're building applications like this on top of it.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why it's. I think there's still a lot of education that needs to be kind of brought out.
Alrighty, so you can catch the full version of that video over here on the DevCentral YouTube channel. And one of the questions that would be answered on there is actually the question posed here on LinkedIn is Lightning Network only in context of Bitcoin? So Lightning Network is built on top of Bitcoin. However, Albert goes through how other currencies are integrated into that as well through the full version of the video. So worth checking that out. But I thought it was a really interesting technology. I mean, Albert's all in on this, and I can see how it helps out in third world countries where you're not really going to see a lot of banks taking care of this kind of stuff for the consumers, nor do the consumers trust their banks or want to deal with them.
Yeah, I think even here in America, we're starting to be like, I don't know that we trust our banks either. So
yeah. Cool. So we've gone over a little bit on time, but that's okay. I just wanted to highlight that if you want to continue this conversation, you head over to community.f5.com. Again, we have our groups over on there. So if you head over into, I'm on the wrong screen. If you head over into groups and go down to the community groups, we're all found in the DevCentral Connects group, and we got a show thread here for this Lightning Network discussion. And if you have questions about Lightning Network, you can ask them on that YouTube video itself. And we do check out the comments on there and watch the comments on there. But if you want to ask questions inside of the show thread, then I can either forward them to Albert. There's some links to get a hold of Albert on here as well through the Neutron Pay. I guess the Neutron Pay site will get you connected to his team, but then there was a link to get a hold of Albert directly if you wanted to, or just ask him on there and we'll get the questions over to Albert. I'm sure he'll be happy to answer questions about Lightning Network as well and how you might want to get involved. So do check that out. Otherwise, make sure you're subscribed to wherever you're watching from right now. If you're watching from YouTube, hit that subscribe button. If you're watching from LinkedIn, on Twitter, we're broadcasting to the DevCentral Twitter and to the F5 Twitter today, and we got our Facebook groups as well. Those ones are kind of monitored a little bit by some folks that are really involved with F5, whether they're in support or otherwise, but be sure to connect with us. Otherwise, Jason, we could probably sign off from here and look forward to seeing folks on the DevCentral Connects group. So thanks, everybody, for checking out the show today. On behalf of myself, Jason, and we've got our research team in the back. We will see everybody next week. See y'all.
Yep. Take care, everyone.
Bye.
The F5 community, DevCentral, has a new home. You can visit community.f5.com to get all your F5 technical questions answered or answer some yourself. We also got technical how-to articles, troubleshooting tips, and great insights on how to keep your applications humming. Of special note is our crowdsource area, and this is where you can share your own code and insights with the DevCentral community. Membership is free and gets you access to special events, unique groups, and other enticing activities. Why don't you join today?